Welcome to Tuesday night. I'm Ken Meringolo on behalf of First Amendment Sports. Thank God it's Tuesday. He's Kevin Ricca.
Love being in here on a Tuesday, Ken, talking about what a great experience this franchise has given us the last 13 months or so. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the experience on this Too Deep as well, my man, because experience is the hot button word of the day, sir.
Experience, size, and strength. Ken Harris, Robert Cohen, Greg Martin, EO, Rhett, AGH, manner of speaking.
Get on the board.
NES.
What am I doing?
We appreciate all you guys getting on early and often. Thank you so much for being subscribers to First Amendment Sports.
Absolutely.
It's Tuesday night. I didn't make any graphics for like Redskins Commander stuff, like players. So I just kind of want to like mingle in a little bit to. I just feel there's no such thing as a dead zone anymore in the NFL or as fans of a team that lost in the NFC Championship. But I think the news of the day is a little light, because we're kind of in the late free agency and we're still a ways out from the draft. So I had a couple of just kind of league notes I'd like to do. I'm not going to do anything super terrible, but
This week in football.
I
love your Twiff notes, Ken.
My muff notes.
Twiff.
Just
okay. Let's
Twiff.
Let's just leave it there for right now. Put a pin in that one.
I love the way the New York Giants quarterback room is shaping up. I think it's just an absolute awesome situation for NFC defending team. The two teams in your division just played in the NFC Championship game, and your answer as an organization is Russell Wilson for a year.
Dangerous.
Jameis Winston for a year. Danny DeVito for
eat that W.
Lifetime contract. So that's a bold strategy, Cotton. But that is fun. I'm glad Derek's not here for the first part of this show because I'm sure it is absolutely hurtful to him to realize that he's going into a season with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Danny DeVito at quarterback.
Forget about the whole Barkley thing. We'll get to that as well.
Yeah.
They're a walking meme. The Giants quarterback position and their front office, it makes me so happy. We've been there. We've seen this. We know it.
Yeah.
We're like, sorry, Derek.
I am, and I also think it's a great outreach program that we're doing. We got a lot of outreach to fans who, like Derek, need our help. People who've been there, done it. We have been, we're certified. We went through the program.
The Dangerous JMO combo. We'll take the Dangerous JMO. Oh, really?
I was trying to think of the most dangerous JMO combo for us going in reverse. Rex Grossman, was it Rex Grossman, Donovan McNabb? Was that one?
Why are you doing this? We were having so much fun laughing at the other guys.
No, I'm saying
I was giddy over here. Did you hit me with Sexy Rexy and who?
I think didn't Grossman and McNabb play on the same roster?
I imagine so.
Danny Werfel and Shane Matthews.
This is no fun anymore. I was having a great time poking fun at
it was
the little Giants.
Quite a show. So the Giants are having themselves a moment. That's fun for us. The Cowboys, if we're whipping it around the league a little, the division, what have they done? Their answer to two teams in their division going to the NFC Championship game has been
somebody can sign most of our free agents, and we're going to sign the one defensive end that we thought was pretty good.
And did they bring in? They just brought in a running back, didn't they? I'm trying to.
Yeah, solid player.
Dude, but not Miles Sanders.
No, he's like Miles Sanders. He's a solid player of that level. But come on. What are you guys doing?
Javonte Williams, the kid from UNC, played with Sam Howell.
He's a good player.
I love him. I mean, he got broked when he tore his ACL, so that's the problem for him. But he's an awesome player. I don't like, having to face him, but we're going to be just fine against the Dallas Cowboys. We always tend to be. Let's see. Yeah, you're right, Ken Harris. So Jameis Winston stat line: 1 million yards, 1 million touchdowns, infinity.
Eat that W.
INTs.
I can't wait. This is so great to have all these characters in the NFC East now. You know what I mean?
It's fun. It's definitely going to be, I tell you what, we have a good feeling going in. That is just That's hot garbage. I mean, Russell Wilson probably going to be well inside the bubble of Hall of Fame conversations someday. Jameis Winston, he's reinvented himself as like a social media. I mean, he's out there having fun. Everyone seems to love him.
Entertaining as hell.
Absolutely. And then DeVito, coming off the bench.
Oh my God. It's like, this is so great.
Yeah. So I want an honest, maybe it's just one, but I want an honest over-under thought process on benchings for the Giants this year. There are some who think teams, really should be aggressively tanking for Archie Manning, and that's the thing. I got no problem with that. We're going to find out about him this year. Playing. He's going to play right away.
I hate to say this, but I think we already know.
Oh, sure, but he's going to get the full reins of a
I've seen
SEC
his release.
Texas team.
He's the most athletic Manning. He's a problem. He's like a new school Manning.
Do not want to see another Manning in New York.
No, at all. It's way more fun with Dangerous and JMO. Yeah. It's my favorite. It's my favorite duo. Dangerous and JMO. It's so great. They're the best. They're the best combo ever. They make me so happy. I don't know why this is so amazing to me, but they're not bad guys. No. They're not hateable unless they play for your team. That's the only. That would be the only thing that you'd be like, I can't stand this guy.
I think Jason Campbell and Mark Brunell were a better duo.
Agreed.
But neither one of them is as well regarded as Russell Wilson.
Up. They would never have hacked it on the social media mean streets of cyber world. But these two, Dangerous. Oh gosh. I'm glad that Derek's not here. I feel like I'm doing the obnoxious laugh. I get, when you get nervous and laugh at like an important part, that's what I'm doing. We don't have to worry about this shit for like so long. Hopefully, at least, obviously, like 5 years minimum.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
That's such a good feeling. That's all. That gives me this. I'm elated. I'm elated that they had Saquon. They saw all this, and then they had Daniel Jones. The only place they could have made Daniel Jones be great, I think. I mean, he just signed for $14 million, by the way, for a year with somebody. Or is it more?
No,
I think it was 14.
He signed he went to, not the Raiders. Did he go to the Raiders?
No. Somebody help us here. I just saw it on the way out here.
Because he signed last week. Not the Saints.
For 1 year, $14 million.
Okay.
Colts.
Yeah, it's going to be Anthony Richardson.
They're gonna run the
Danny Jones.
They're gonna run the quarterback fullback offense, and they're gonna direct snap it to one or the other. The other one will be the fullback.
Another team with a quarterback room that, their fan base, like just yesterday, they had an exciting next level athlete, Anthony Richardson. He gets a little banged up. He takes himself out of a game. They don't enjoy immediate success, and now all of a sudden their franchise guy is competing with Danny Jones in camp this summer.
In order to get, which I now appreciate, Greg Martin, everyone's talking on the board about the Arch Manning plan. Go to the Colts, sir. Make everyone in the world happy, mostly around our parts. Yeah. If Arch Manning wants to tear this league apart, just like his uncle did in Indianapolis, I'll root my ass off for him every day.
Yep.
Except for possibly once every 4 years.
That's right. I think Greg, I'm not out on Anthony Richardson, and I loved him out of college. I thought, and he definitely looked like he was going to be, a lot better.
You can get arched out on this bad boy, regardless of how good he is.
No, he's getting Daniel Jones did out.
Yeah,
I mean that's already bad enough.
Mr. Jones.
Yes,
I think August and everything after explained to all of us exactly what happens when Mr. Jones gets called into the franchise. Damn it.
I heard Adam Jarrett's talk about that song today.
Specifically?
Specifically.
He knew exactly what we were going to talk about tonight.
In 10 seconds, the drummer for Counting Crows hated that song because he thought, because he said, according to Adam Jarrett, hey, I didn't join a country band. I don't want to play country songs. And so he would, throw a fit about Mr. Jones. So T-Boone Pickett, I think that's his name, the famous producer, he's been around forever. He goes, they're in the studio. He goes to Adam Jarrett's and the drummer, and they got this legendary drummer in another room, banging out, studio drumming session. And T-Bone says, hey, to the drummer of Counting Crows, hey, this is Denny, Denny Geyser, I think they were a world famous drummer. Oh man, I'm such a huge fan. And T-Bone's like, hey, you know what? I know it, but I know you hate Mr. Jones, we're gonna have Denny sit in and bang this song out. And Adam Jordan said they did it in 2 takes for the album. They said it was awesome, and he said it was just a horrible thing for T-Bone to have done to the drummer. But T-Bone was like, "This is how we're doing it."
Hey man, a song is a song.
Song's a song.
But I'll be honest, it might be my bottom percentage.
Without a doubt, it was the first hit,
and it was. It popped them,
but wasn't the best song.
It popped them onto the map in '94 early, and then I could go through the whole thing, but
Absolutely.
Mr. Jones was one of the skippers. Sorry,
and that's what you did back in those days.
Back in those days,
you just hit play and let it ride.
And very few albums, and we'll get to that during this offseason, were let it hit play and let it ride albums. Someone write that down for the future.
Hit play,
and let it ride albums. Hit play and let it ride albums.
So,
I get it.
Are you write that down? Write that down.
I said it, and I think it's
recorded.
And I understand why some people don't like it. It is a slow, but like being 18 and in a weird place, it banged. It smacked sometimes. I always clapped, and to this day I don't play it.
I'm surprised that Greg Martin can't stay in that band.
It is a negative. Like,
if I had pearls to clutch.
It's raining in Baltimore. I get it. I do get it. But they're funky as shit too.
They are. Rain King is an all-time banger. Hanging Around is.
Anna Begins. Perfect Blue Buildings.
Einstein on the Beach.
Oh, I fast forwarded that one every time.
That wasn't on any. That was on any album.
Every mixtape, it was fast forwarded. I didn't like that song at all. Anyways, we're counting crows right now. We should be talking about the NFC East, I believe.
Cowboys unexciting. Didn't blow anyone's skirt up.
We don't have to talk about that anymore. We're talking about Arch for a second.
So I think that Arch Manning is worth chasing after. The 3 teams that Greg threw out there right off the bat. No chance Steelers tank. That's not in their DNA. They're never, ever going to do that. Mike Tomlin, and they've had 3 coaches ever?
And he's never had a losing season.
Never had a losing season.
It's hard to tank a guy that's never had a losing.
Aaron Rodgers will be their quarterback.
Him tanking is like 10-7, 9-8, whatever they pissed at him about. Can he really be their quarterback in Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Can you throw this ayahuasca just absorbing lunatic whack job into the Steel City?
Yes.
Do you think it works?
Yes.
Why?
I think it works because, they have a great locker room culture. They have a great organizational culture. They have Mike Tomlin, who is in charge of that and has been and continues to be. He's the dude. He stands in front of, and he's got everyone behind him. Aaron Rodgers comes in. He will get pantsed and swishied and swirlied. He will if he tries anything.
None of this stuff's going to happen to him. He does the pantsing and the swishing and the swirling.
I think players are going to be excited to have him on the field with them. I think they have enough going on elsewhere. If TJ Watt is healthy and George Pickens has his head on right, they just signed another wide receiver. Blanking on that. DK Metcalf. Aaron Rodgers can get something out of that.
On paper, those 3 in a video game are going to kick everyone's ass.
They lose Najee Harris, which I think is a huge mistake. The 3 of their
relationships is honestly going to be so worth watching all season long with a pro game.
Freiermuth's going to catch balls.
I respect the Pittsburgh franchise, but I think this guy's on an odd spiral. It's a slow, odd.
It's super easy.
He was painful in New York, dude.
It's super easy to be done with him, and I'm not saying it's.
He's a generational talent. I don't just throw those guys in the trash. I'm talking about what he's doing off the field. Like, he doesn't give 2 shits anymore. It doesn't feel like this is.
He's living in a different universe.
Exactly.
But his ability to spin the ball in between the whistles is still. It's still there. He's not 20 years old, but he is still one of the best.
Multiple of his multiple personalities are freaking great NFL quarterbacks.
Yes.
That's true.
So Arch going to the Saints, by the way, Ken Harris. That is the winner.
I love all the Manning places. Giants. This board tonight has said Giants, Colts, and Saints. I'm pretty sure if someone's going to throw the Broncos out there.
Sneaky Chargers Manning spot. Now, of course, Eli never ended up playing for him.
No.
But they took a shot. This could be their second chance.
Did Arch play somewhere weird for 1 year? Am I seeing Arch playing 1 year for the Houston Oilers, or am I just in an alternate Aaron Rodgers universe?
I don't know the answer to that, but
I
I
don't
believe
either.
he played his whole career in New
So
Orleans.
I'm guessing that those are the 3 franchises, including Denver, that any Manning has ever played for, and I think they all had a pretty damn humongous impact on those communities and those franchises. This kid is coming out of the gates with $6 million in his pocket from last year, and another 6 coming this way, at least maybe 7. I mean, I'm guessing he's got about double-digit millions in the bank. This is such a different way to bring a Manning into your foundation.
He's pre-qualified. He's going to.
There's no co-signing. There will be no co-signing.
He's able to do a deal right away. No one's going to be asking.
Oilers and Vikings. I knew there was a Houston. I had a Houston feel. I knew he did something weird at the end. They had to. Man.
Wait.
Yes, Greg Martin. Sorry.
Wait, Oilers and Vikings. So he played for 2 other teams besides the Saints. Yeah. I didn't realize that. I thought he played all his years in New Orleans.
I knew there was something weird there, and there was an oil rig. There was an oil rig in my memory. Thank you.
It feels like maybe that would have been like a great Archie Manning, Ken Stabler, 40-plus-year-old quarterback room. That would have been all. If that was the case, that would have been awesome.
Can you imagine Kenny Stabler being like, "Why don't you come hang out with me this weekend, Arch?" Well, probably not, Kenny, but I'm sure it would have been fun.
I think
there's
they did.
no way those 2 can do it together.
All
right, they could every now and then. That's fair. But regularly, no chance.
Listen, sometimes
Kenny ate cigarettes and beer for breakfast in the offseason and went from boat bar to boat bar in his freaking. I mean, I love that guy.
Sometimes you invite a couple guys over to your basement and drain a couple bottles of whiskey, and sometimes they come back every Tuesday for 10 years.
It's true, and the fact that I'm seasick makes your basement a way, way better resort.
Yes. Archie Manning never had a winning record,
which is criminal because he was a hell of a player, obviously, but. He was so loyal to that city in New Orleans for drafting him. I mean, after coming from Ole Miss, where he was royalty.
Yeah.
I mean, down south, he is. That's crazy, but it's understandable. He refused to leave the hometown loser. That's why he made sure that shit didn't happen to his boys.
Sure.
He said, he told his wife, "I'm going to fix it this time. You wait and see." They're not going to know.
So I don't know about them pulling an Eli necessarily, although I don't deny. I still believe that. I thought that Caleb Williams was going to potentially do something along those lines, but obviously he didn't, and Chicago is his spot. There's only 32 of them out there, so it's hard. First of all, you have to be the number 1 overall pick to kind of go that route and be the John Elway, Eli Manning situation. But also, because of how much money he's already made, and because of how good we kind of probably think he is, he probably, like, some guys just think like, hey, wherever I go is going to be a pretty damn good football team.
Especially now that it's different than when Eli and Peyton came out, that the league is weighted differently. There's no more like the 0-16 versus 16-0, 49-0. You can lose 49-0 on a weekly basis, but everyone is you're spread pretty thin with the salary cap. And the thing that's super interesting to me, the coolest part of all of this is that we've watched Peyton and Eli dominate as quarterbacks, as pocket guys that are not fleet of foot, specifically not. Type in Arch Manning highlights. Watch that guy run around
after
the football
the show.
field.
After the show,
Obviously. Watch that man run around. Watch his speed, athleticism, his talent for running the football. That's what his grandson has. That's what his son Cooper had. His 2 quarterback sons didn't get all that. No. I think Mom Dukes must have been not that fleet of foot. She seemed like more of a I don't know what sport you play when you just stand still. But that's what happened to those young men. Because Arch was a freak athlete. And now his grandson has the arm and the feet to match. This is going to be so fun to watch him.
I'm not a big Texas fan, but I'll be watching a lot of Texas games this year just because.
Oh, man, I can't wait to watch him play.
Yeah, going to watch him play every chance I get.
Me too, Ken, 100%.
And I think that he's coming into the league with a lot of steam. And like this... There's always, like, I hate, nobody likes to Velcro on to the glom on to the whole, like, to the, to what's new and what's shiny and everything like that.
No.
The game of football is the game of football, and he plays it at the way that it can be played at any possible level. He has the skills. He has the innate skills to do it. He has the athletic ability to not only protect himself, but to be to belong at the next level.
Of course.
And he is going to come into the NFL as long as he doesn't play for. He's like one of those guys that I just pray to God he doesn't play for someone in my division because I want to root for him for his whole career.
Me too, but also he's going to start off real rough. They're going to bring him along. He is not ready. He is nowhere. Put it this way. He's nowhere near where Jaden Daniels was leaving college. Not even close. We're talking about him as a prospect here.
That's right.
Not as a can't miss. I'm talking about him as a cool-ass college football player to watch this year.
But
that's what you're saying.
But billion-dollar NFL teams are, in the back of their mind, are thinking every game we lose gives us a better chance to get that particular individual person, that one guy.
Yep.
He's the guy. I don't think the Giants. I think the Giants. So if it's between all those teams, I think your best candidates are Colts and Saints, only because the Steelers don't do it. They're not tanking ever, which I love about them. And second, and the Giants are every time they try, they fail. And you know how and this is the most frustrating part about it. They blow their chance at Arch Manning by beating us in some stupid, historically. I mean, Danny DeVito beating us 2 years ago cost them Jaden freaking Daniels. So
and gave him to us.
Gave to us. I mean,
they gave the Eagles Saquon. They gave us Jaden. They have given themselves Dangerous
awesome.
and J-Mo. Dun, dun, dun.
And they're also the ones that gave us the $36 million salary cap penalty. I say, to some degree, you know what? Kind of had it coming, John Mara, Wellington Mara.
Yeah.
You stuck it to the right guys, Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder.
Yeah, but the
collateral
wrong fan
damage.
base. Wrong fan base, Dick.
Collateral damage here. So screw you guys. All right. Well, by the way, my password for my Max app has been compromised.
For your what app?
For Max, HBO Max, my streamer app. It said I've just got a warning on my computer. It said I have a compromised password. And I'm thinking to myself,
you better check your baby oil stash.
I don't even know my password for Max. I don't know any of my passwords. Do you know any of your passwords?
There's like 3 chances, and then I just quit because nothing ever works.
If I get an email and it's like you got to do something, an action has to be taken, like something has to get done by a certain time, and they give you a link and you click it. And when I click it, it gives you the screen of death, the worst screen someone like me can see, where it says username, password. I'm like, oh, this. I mean, it's like the freaking red or the blue line. Which one am I cutting? I have no idea. I don't know what my username is anywhere. I don't know what my password is anywhere. The fact that someone else apparently knows it, I'm like, hey, do me a favor. Just send me an email being like, dude, here's your password. I know you don't know.
We know this is you.
Yeah.
You know this is you. And nothing ever works, and I can't stand it. And it always goes south. And then it just Anyways,
so yeah, my password's been compromised. Damn it. It's one of you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying The White Lotus or whatever else you're watching on HBO these days.
White Lotus.
By the way, Derek Elphick, who hopefully will be sitting in this chair before the game is out for our thing. Derek told me to watch The White Lotus, so I did. He's the one person who has never told me to watch a show before, ever. And he's also the guy that when I'm like, dude, I'm watching this show, you have got to, and before I can finish the sentence, he's like, dude, I'm not gonna watch that. I don't watch any. He's like, I never watch any shows. Not only do I not watch shows, he's like, I can't. He's like, he can't he can't get into it. Like, he doesn't connect episode 1 with episode 7. If they pull back, they're like, oh, and you're like, oh my god, that character, person was in the background of the bar ordering a drink while this person, and Derek's like, yeah, I'm out. So it's
done.
He's the guy who never ever recommends any TV shows. He recommended one. I watched it. It's pretty messed up, but and it's not bad. I thought it was going to be different than what it was. So I'll say it's water cooler worthy. I know it's a big water cooler thing right now, which is cool because I miss that. I miss when TV was a water cooler situation. When we legitimately talked about TV when it was
at a water cooler.
Yeah, sometimes. You have a water cooler at your house? I don't have a water cooler.
No,
me neither.
No.
Did you have one growing up?
No. We had what was called a sink and a hose.
We had.
Well, I don't want to sound like
shout out to hose water. Anytime I can, shout out to hose water.
So delicious.
Best tasting water in America.
The most delicious water I've ever had in my life. The most refreshing. Mm-hmm. You can just pour it all over your own person, down your gullet.
Gotta let it run a little bit. Gotta let it come out. Gotta let the hot and the bugs gotta come
where
out.
it's been resting. But give me that rubber hose flavor. that I'm sure it had some, but I'm sure it also fought some other carcinogen. Whatever it was, that cocktail was not for disaster; it was for success.
It's the most upsetting thing to me when I buy a hose and on like strapped to the hose is a warning that says "Do not drink from this hose," and I'm like, first of all,
Whenever you buy hose,
how
I
dare
freak
you?
out.
How
I get very
dare you?
nervous.
Yeah, what is that hose for?
Yeah.
I know what the last one was for, and God damn it, we should be done with that.
That hose is a little bigger than than them last hose.
Listen, let's just say we're not using this end of the hose anymore, but we can use this end.
Oh, that hose is for the sprinkler.
Yes.
Right.
Don't touch that end of the hose.
That hose is for the lawn.
It's like the difference between a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. You know, you don't want to mix up the cameras or use the same one for both.
I will say this, though. In like the late 80s, early 90s, we did buy that gigantic attachment to connect to the faucet in the sink.
Oh, dude, that counts.
No, you're supposed to replace the filter, I think, monthly. We had that bad boy for like 26 years. Just so ugly, big knob on there. Like, let me switch it over to this one so I can drizzle out. Eventually, I just straight up sink.
You were getting clumps of 10 years of sink minerals.
Like, seriously,
faucet minerals.
Like, what are you doing?
So I don't know. I think we had one of those at some point too. But we down in the middle of nowhere where we lived, which I know you lived in a similar type of scenario.
I lived in Montgomery County, but I lived in a not a great part. It was one of the parts that they forgot about, I think. But now they will remember.
Nothing came all the way down to where I was. We were like in tobacco fields. There was no cable TV. There was no. I mean, we barely
all the overalls picks on the walk-in.
A lot of
really
overalls.
Creeped me out.
A lot of a lot of overalls. A lot of straw hats.
Dungarees. No.
They brought those big water jugs and they'd line them up and we'd have them because and that was but I will say this. Hose water, I don't know if I'm not convinced that the hoses that they made and the water that we drank in the 1980s specifically is not like, I think like that, like there should be a comic book series about the fact, like what it did for us. Because
the nutrient,
it did something to us.
Nutritional value.
Yeah, we got something that no one's getting today.
Yeah.
And they need it. And I'm not convinced it's not coming from hose water. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Listen here, Dr. Meringolo. I know that I typically don't agree with these far-fetched things, but as a hose water drinker, like, I never got sick. Like, I don't know. Like, just like none of the stupid stuff that ever happened to everybody had. Like, and we consistently drank more hose water than any family I know. I mean, the hose was forever running. There's always a plastic pool filled outside. There was always like
the dogs get dog. And I, today as a grown man, and I think to myself, there's a hose just with an open end sitting in the yard. And our yard was full of snakes and spiders and grasshoppers and everything else. And I'm thinking to myself, I never one time questioned drinking out of a hose, despite its free access. If I was a small enough bug, it's the one I would have 100% take refuge in the hose. 100%
to give yourself the self spray, to just did the whole nine, and then to go drip dry on a sidewalk or on the pool's deck or somewhere, some cement hot. It could have been a blacktop pavement. But to drip,
were
drip
you well
dry,
water or were you city water?
We were city water.
Okay,
so listen, I did live in Montgomery County, sir.
I'm
just saying we did, but Poolsville is in Montgomery County. And we had well water there.
Yeah,
so I spent half my time with well and half with regular
hose water. Like we were, obviously we were in the middle of nowhere, so we were well water. But that's the difference. Like obviously, city water gets cold too. It's coming through the pipes. It's cold, but well water. You let that run for a minute. There's nothing colder than well water.
Oh God, subterranean.
It's coming from the permafrost.
It's right underneath you by like 20 yards.
Yes.
And it's
the coldest water ever.
It's so cool and refreshing.
All right,
but it has a shitty taste to it. I'm not gonna lie, and a shitty smell to it in the shower.
So did whiskey the first time I drank it, but I learned to love it.
Yeah, but you don't wash your ass with it.
Well, that's true. That is true.
I got ahead of myself. I apologize to all of you and you, Ken. I was wrong. You do wash your ass with it.
We have to.
Especially knowing that the hose is fully ready to fly. Sorry.
I think there should be someone who sells a 1980s hose. That's kind of where I'm going. If I go to Home Depot or the hardware store, Ace or wherever, Stroh Snyder's, and I go to buy a hose, I'm buying a hose that was made today. Like nowadays. It's apparently not safe. But like,
It's not the same flavor.
Can I get a 1980s flavor hose? Like just a rubber hose?
Or should we bottle hose water right now? Don't
Patent
listen.
pending.
Everyone,
Patent pending.
send us your bitcoins, and we're gonna get this thing going. Let's get it off the ground. Let's launch it.
Hose water. By
Subterranean
the way,
hose water.
we would sell so much bottled hose water.
You sell a little coil, and you can actually unpull. You can pull
it out. It's just you drink from the hose.
Come on,
God,
guys, let's do it.
We're doing it. We're doing it. The other note that I had written down on my page here is a guy who we are very familiar with, who made a headline this week. He's not yet in the league. He will be in the league. He had a great collegiate career. He played high school for a high school that we called. His name is Xavier Restrepo. He's the Miami wide receiver for Cam Ward. Very dangerous collegiate offensive weapon. Showed himself to be that while playing at the NCAA level. Ran his pro day 40 this week at a 4.84, which let's just say did not blow up anyone's skirt. Ran a great shuttle, I think, right in where you want it to be. I don't think anybody who watched him this year thought he was Xavier worthy by any, but he was always open. He was more like Wes Welker.
That's exactly who he is.
Yeah.
Without the speed.
Without the speed. But he's got quickness, though. He's quick.
He has every bit of the quickness, and I think he's brilliant. In fact, I know he is because we covered him in high school. We covered him in 2019. St. John's played Deerfield Beach. Ken and I and T got to call that game. Ken fell in love with him right away because their starting quarterback got hurt. And he came in and played quarterback. And we were told on the sidelines pregame, he got the shit kicked out of him, and he was great. He made every play. He actually made
throws.
He made every throw possible. He ran around, played his ass off. But he was a transfer from Christopher Columbus that came, and they told us on the sideline, they told me that day, this kid transferred into Deerfield Beach because he wanted to graduate early as a 4.0 honors student. He's brilliant because he wanted to get in and learn the offense at Miami in spring and be that guy. This is a brilliant cat. His football IQ is through the roof. We're only talking about him like this because we adore him.
Yeah.
And not just because we covered him. What we saw was an incredible football player, like a real deal guy in between the hash marks. This guy is unbelievable. 200 receptions, all-time leader at the University of Miami. 21 touchdowns, all-time leader, University of Miami. Over 2,800 yards, all-time leader at the U.
By the way,
this guy, go run your 4.83. We'll take you at a later round. Because this is the type of guy that our guy goes out and outsources, and this is the type of guy that shows up for us and has an incredible rookie season, dude.
Not only do I think he's going to be a pro, but I think you've got to start getting serious since we're doing our league stuff right now. Got to get serious about Cam Ward. I don't know where he's going. I think Cam Ward's a player. I've been saying it for the last couple of years now. I love him. I love his attitude. I love what he came to Miami and did. I love the shit that he did with Shedeur Sanders in the offseason.
I don't like him as much as Ken, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. I think he is I think he's going to come in and succeed at the NFL level. I don't think he's
that wouldn't
Jay
surprise
Daniels.
me.
I don't think
wouldn't surprise me. I think he needs a little humbling. The way I felt about Baker Mayfield, who's incredible now, who came in and got after the humbled. Yeah.
But I don't think he's Jay Daniels, obviously. But and it does matter where he goes. If he goes first overall, we'll see. But it does matter where he goes. I love Cam Ward. I think you talk about Restrepo's numbers. Yes, Xavier Restrepo deserves tons of credit for that.
He might have just gone from the fourth round to the sixth because of this stupid 40.
Yeah.
Give that man to us, man.
Oh, for sure.
Get him on our team, but we got 5 picks, but we might have more. Cool? Wouldn't that be great? Because he's the type of guy that we coveted long before we had this past football season. You know what I mean? You were like, God damn. I love watching this guy play this sport. It's my favorite sport, and this kid plays it. He played 7 positions at Deerfield Beach after transferring from Christopher Columbus, which is a national powerhouse, big-time program. I think the state champs in Miami back-to-back years. Shout out Dave Dunn, head coach at Christopher Columbus. But right now, Deerfield Beach is about to get their shine put on because this guy, everyone's talking about his 4.8 whatever. Wait till you see what this guy does for anybody next year.
Yes.
If he gets put on the right team, which would be ours in that slot position, holy shit. And go watch his highlight tape after this show's over and tell me how many times he gets caught, or looks not quick to you or slow at any level. Because game speed, fellas, there's a little thing called adrenaline, and some cats click it into a different gear, and you can't just judge that with a timer off season in a dome somewhere in shorts and T-shirts.
Nope. And he will do just fine.
He's a badass.
Super smart kid. Gonna do just fine in life, and he's gonna play in the NFL. So I thought
we get him here,
cool.
when Ken and I go bonkers, and T would join us, we love this kid. Like, we love this kid. Ken jumped on him right away because I know when a guy jumps into quarterback, you're like, look at this kid. I'm like, yeah, but he played slide, he played wide, he played corner, he played safety, he punted, he kicked off, he held, he came in and played Q against a top 10 team in the country, and he was a badass. This dude is for real. We're done. Xavier Restrepoing this Tuesday night, but I knew we'd talk about him tonight.
He's a story this week in the NFL, and I don't really know that there's that many. I know there's other stuff going on, and there's probably other things that people care about more than those things. But those are my highlights for the league.
And we have a pretty good relationship with guys from the U.
We do.
Come on, baby. I did the U twice today. I feel like the Rock Johnson right now.
We're going to. How about this? Since we're halfway through the show, here's what we're going to do. We're going to dip into the draft of the evening, and we're going to dip out and do some Commanders talk, and then we're going to dip back in. Greg, I need your help.
It sounds like a double dip to me. Double dip.
We're going to be doing some fun dipping. It's all about the fun dip.
A hose water double
Keep
dip.
track of the results of this, Greg, because we're going to move fast to the early rounds. We have 48 sports movies. The top 16 get an automatic bye into the round of 32. We're going to, or the round of the Sweet 16, I should say. We are going to blitz through the first round, and I'm going to do this. Just as an example. Here we go. And I apologize in advance. I made these brackets, and they are. I made the graphics, and they're not great. But we have our main man to thank. By the way, also since we have the blue screen, let's throw this up here. Ken Harris, when we were talking about hose water, he spent all his savings on cereal milk. Cereal milk, by the way, I think that actually was a thing, wasn't it?
One, you had to have cereal milk, and then the one that your dad could wrap his lips upon and chug from, and then you'd yell at him, and he'd say, "You buy your own milk."
You buy your own milk. And then subterranean hose water, or a Bob Dylan album. That could be a good Bob Dylan album. All right, Greg said right as I said his name, he got an ad. So Greg, keep track of these. Keep track of these early rounds. We're gonna blitz through the first round here. How about this one for starters? Here we go. Now, again, sorry for the what do you call it? The orientation.
Rocky Four.
Rocky Four and Dogtown and Z Boys. We're going Rocky Four. Rocky Four is gonna play.
I must break you. I must break you.
I'm gonna skip this one. Seabiscuit and Basketball. I will say I've watched each of those movies maybe one time fully, and not much since. And I love the South Park guys.
Let's
so
just go Seabiscuit because it was based on a true story.
It's fine. I love the South Park guys are my guys, but I
Mine
got
too.
I got other.
But they don't really. They're not in the sports world so much. Basketball was kind of a poke at being competitive.
Yeah.
So Seabiscuit was not a poke at being competitive. That's all. Here we go.
Friday Night Lights and the Iron Claw. Iron Claw is super recent. Friday Nights isn't. I'm going Friday Night Lights because I read the book. I read
the book.
And the Iron Claw, I watched part of it, but my understanding is it's a super depressing movie.
Yeah, I'm out. Say no more.
I'm way out. I just heard like the first half of the story. I'm like, I'm done. But like Field of Dreams, Any Given Sunday.
How is that the matchup in the 48?
This is the 20 versus 40. This is a classic
it's
20
Field
versus
of Dreams,
45 matchup.
obviously, but I hate that Any Given Sunday is a 20 seed. That's crazy. It's a great movie, Any Given Sunday as well. Good movie, but Field of Dreams is, come on.
All right, so we pushed
the
some
Field of
teams
Dreams
through. Let's go with this one real fast. All right, how about Cinderella Man versus Bennett Like Beckham? I can honestly say I did not see both of these movies all the way through.
Nor did I. In fact, I saw zero of Bennett Like Beckham.
Cinderella Man would be the one to go with.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it.
Cinderella Bennett Like Beckham is.
Are we supposed to be writing this down?
No. Greg's doing it.
Thank you, Greg.
Foxcatcher versus 8 Men Out. I'm a huge fan of 8 Men Out. It's a 46 seed. They let them sneak in.
Agreed.
Charlie Sheen, right?
Agreed. No.
Not Charlie Sheen. Who played Shoeless? Not Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta.
It was Ray Liotta, right?
Played
Shoeless Joe.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. By the way, as we move through, we'll both point out that some of these movies, for example, 8 Men Out, a perfect example of something I learned because of the movie.
I did too.
Yeah,
but I remember my mom hit pause and was like, "You got to hear this."
Yes,
he didn't. It was a morality. He didn't.
He did not
look at his batting average. Look at, and I was like, "God damn, Mom!"
He was the only one.
You've been reading the paper but yeah, he didn't. And if you look at his freaking stat line, he obviously didn't.
He obviously didn't. And also, by the way, the rest of his teammates, they were so committed to throwing it. I guarantee you, they had some part of them were okay with him doing what he had to do.
Yeah.
But again, a great movie. Told a great story that I didn't know until I watched that movie. Rocky 3 versus The Fighter. I mean, give me a break. Rocky 3 is...
Come on.
Yeah.
That's Clubber Lang, dude.
Creed and Mighty Ducks. Now, I'm going to throw this out here.
What a hard seed, 27-38.
It is, and I'm going to say Mighty Ducks because I have a soft spot in my heart for the Flying V and Emilio Estevez and the whole scenario of... Quack.
And I'm in. And agreed, because it makes it easier. And don't kick me in the Nuggets board. I haven't seen Creed yet. And
I intend to see for the Creed 1, 2, and 3. I intend to do a thing.
I haven't done it on purpose.
I guarantee you it's good.
I know it is.
I know
it's great, but not today.
Not today.
It's not your day today, Creed.
It's not your day-to-day, Creed. All right, we're gonna get through this round quickly. Jerry Maguire versus Undisputed. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm going with Jerry Maguire here.
Me too, all day. Let's move forward.
Rocky 2 and Dodgeball. I'm taking to take the.
It's Rocky 2, dude.
Dude, all right. Well, here's the deal about Dodgeball. Rocky 2 is
the first time he avenges Apollo Creed. When it came out, I welled up with tears of joy. When Dodgeball came out, I scratched my beanbag and thought, I'll see that when it comes out at Errol's video. And by the way, it was a very comfortable beanbag that I
Rocky
scratched.
2 is my third favorite Rocky. It goes Rocky, then Rocky 3, then Rocky 2.
But it's better than my first favorite Dodgeball.
I know, but I love everything about Dodgeball.
Step off. Don't you
I'm
going to
give you Rocky 2.
Don't you do this.
I'm going to give you Rocky 2.
Don't you do this to Rocky 2.
Karate Kid, $1 Million Baby.
Non-beanbag having
Can I get Mr. Miyagi and Ralph Macchio love on this one?
Of course. Adoration, $1 Million Baby.
The Natural versus Love and Basketball. It's got to be The Natural, right?
It's not. That doesn't need to be discussed in my world. God, shout out Love and Basketball. It's not your day.
Not your day. All right. And the last quadrant, the southwestern bracket. White Man Can't Jump versus Pumping Iron.
White Man Can't Jump.
And that's a 32-33 squeaker. One of those teams won their conference tournament. One of those teams was that large.
I think somebody had one of them little...
Greg said the rankings were from a published list online, not his. But I
know it was not Greg.
He subbed out 10 for some of the really old, obscure, and foreign ones.
That's fair.
White Man Can't Jump. Are Chariots of Fire or Murder Ball?
To me, it's not close. Chariots of Fire is one of the greatest of all time. And if you fight me on this, I'm going to shit all over your bathroom.
I've not seen either of these movies all the way through. But I will say this about Murder Ball. I think I need to go
shit on your floor.
Camera one.
Why did you come back when I was singing? Someone might have thought someone else was singing.
Camera one.
I'll murder your floor. Stop.
Julie Donaldson came to Comcast Sportsnet, and
I get very uncomfortable.
Was Miss Florida, and she decided she wanted to talk about sports in Washington back in 2008-ish. And I didn't know anything about it. About her whole history. And one night, me and Kevin Ewald said, hey, we're going to do, we did this thing called slap fight.
Do you understand the anxiety? You got to be quicker than this. You can't do slap fight. You can't tell the whole story.
Slap fight, bikini slap fight with Julie Donaldson. And she dumped an entire bag of her bikinis on a table in front of Kevin Ewald and I in a production meeting. And she was a super hot blonde. It was a former Miss Florida. And then I was covered in bikinis.
Who's a cool as shit lady, by the way.
Super cool,
she
super
really
nice.
Is. She still is.
Hanging
still
out
works
with her.
Locally. She's awesome.
The producer, after she left the room, and I'm literally like picking bikini tops and bottoms out of all everywhere. And he's like, hey, by the way, we're not going to do this. And I was like, what are you talking about? We're not doing bikini. Because the gag was Kevin and I were going to wear the bikinis.
I shaved my ass for this.
Kevin and I were going to wear the bikinis. It wasn't going to be her, but that was the whole gag. And he was like, no, with her history. And it turned out she had her ex-boyfriend was a murder ball player. And it was a whole thing. And they had like these, I mean, this is back in the early 2000s when the sex videos and all the terrible revenge stuff was going on, and no one knew anything about it, but it was coming out, and she was bearing the brunt of it, and it was...
I tried to say, is this how it still fit?
Yes. So, long story short, we did not do a bikini slap fight with Julie Donaldson. She's an awesome person.
That's true.
Yes, and she made, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm gonna go against Murder Ball in this one because of that.
I think we all are.
Okay.
I think we're all going against Murder Ball. I have no further comment on this topic.
But there was not a lot of for 100 bikinis. I
we were so close.
I could have held them all in one hand. That's how little they were. All right, let's go over here. All right, Little Giants versus League of Our Own. Little Giants for me.
How is that? Hold up. How is that right now? The seeding. Those are two of the great ones of all time. And I'm sorry. A League of Their Own over Little Giants for me. It's two of my top 10s of all time.
Dude, I gave you Rocky 2. Can you give me Little Giants?
Well, you didn't give me Rocky 2. Sly Stallone gave us Rocky 2.
I'm just saying.
He's from the WCAC as well. A St. John's College High School freaking
all right.
student.
It's Tom Hanks. I'm going to let this one slide.
Are you kidding me? That movie is so great. And so is
Icebox, the annexation of Puerto Rico.
I know, I get it. But Rick Moranis.
Ed
Come
O'Neill.
on, bro. I know. I'm just saying.
All right. Endless Summer, Rookie
I love
of the
Little
Year.
Giants, dude. But A League of Their Own is like.
All right. I want Rookie of
me.
the Year. I want that. I want the 40 seed.
All day long. All day long. All day long. I love Rookie of the Year. Endless Summer. Meh.
Yeah. All right. We'll come back. We're gonna come back to that. Let's talk our team. So we talked a little bit about the shape of the league. I love talking about the NFL as if it's a place where we do business. For the last 20 years, that's why I would honestly say we've been doing this now for almost 6 or 6.5, maybe 6 3/4 years. Closer to 10. The spending any time at all on what the Vikings or the Saints or the Colts or the freaking Panthers or Texans are doing never made much sense because we weren't doing anything. But I love the fact that now this is where we work. This is where we do business. This is like our place of business. We talk about the Giants quarterback room. We talk about prospects coming into the league potentially for us. This is what fan bases and teams that are legitimately involved in the NFL are all about. So expect to see more of that going forward. But let's talk about our guys. Now, last week we covered the money part of it, how much money we're spending in each position, which, as we said, is shockingly low. It
really is.
It not only is it's evenly balanced across the position groups, and there's room,
which gives us money also in the next 2. We're in the top 6. In the next 2 years, after this year and after the next year, based
for
on
money commitment.
Where we are right now, based on our commitments, which is a beautiful thing because even when we were just finagling the salary cap, I never felt so good. And I don't even want to check and be how much do we have because I know this. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. Wiley getting restructured, restructuring Debo the proper way, restructuring Wiley the proper way. Super cool.
Well, we didn't Debo stays on as a 1-year guy. That's an important thing.
Of course.
Super important.
No, but guaranteed the 17 with an extra 3 on top. That just tells a guy, we're really happy that you're here.
We're really happy
we're about to give it to you 5 billion times. He's
5 billion times?
His touches. And by the way, no better guy to touch it 5 billion times.
And he gets to be a person looking for a contract to play wide receiver in the NFL next year when guys like him are getting paid $30 million a year.
Awesome.
I mean, Stephon Diggs signed a $69 million deal today with $26 million guaranteed for not the Vikings.
Oh no, he went to the New England Patriots.
The Patriots, yes.
And we've all joked around here, and we've all been around Stephon Diggs, and we all know who his grade school coaches were, his high school coaches, and his college coaches. And gentlemen, I was going to have this conversation tonight before I heard about the 3 years for 69. I want to see what's guaranteed and what the hell else is going on.
It's 26 guaranteed.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair for him. That's fair numbers for what he's done and accomplished. But we did not want him on our team.
No,
we're a culture base. We're not going to all of a sudden start not being a non-culture base for a retread 30+. Even though he's local as shit, WCAC local as shit, and man, a lot of the cats around here love him. But he's not for us right now.
No,
it's not his year for us. It's not his time. And thank God. I was going to say tonight, what would you guys do for Steph Diggs running slot? Because I'll be honest.
For a second, it was
it would be nasty.
Jaden Daniels' brother would never go for it.
It'd be nastier off the field, I believe, and not somebody that we want to dabble with. And all of a sudden, you got Steph Diggs bitching at Jaden Daniels, and everyone's like, 9,000 dudes are choking Steph Diggs in the sidelines, and
Mama
not because,
Daniels.
and not because
would
in
not be
Buffalo
happy.
they said who's the one.
I know.
You don't
That's
want
why Mama
Daniels.
Daniels doesn't want that.
Exactly. He's the worst. Mama Daniels. Shout out Juju. Sorry about that ACL. Mama Daniels did nothing wrong.
No, she didn't. And by the way, that Juju injury last night was so bad. Was it last night, right?
Yeah, it was awful. After all the stuff with Jaden Daniels, but anywhere he goes, and we have to get that. I mean, he's going to be the $100 million man. Like, he might be the first guy to get paid. Like, he's going to be all of it, whatever. But we got time for that. And
the beauty is we have a lot of time for it.
But right now, a lot of other people realize that he has time for that. And he is going to be, as a West Coast, East Coast guy, a national treasure from right now moving forward, based out of PG County and Arlington County. Like, that's crazy to me. In the nation's capital, where guys were so accessible. We used to have guys just come down here to the basement and hang out, for God's sake. Now I think there has to be a few more forms.
At least if a couple of DNA situations. Yeah. So I will say this about Adam Peters and Jaden Daniels and the money, because on one hand, I've argued repeatedly that you get the guy, he's a franchise guy, of course, you got 8 years. 8 years of salary cap room based on it. But I think also on the other hand of that is, if as you watch Adam Daniels, so now we have 3 guaranteed, if not 4, right? Total 5 years on a quote unquote rookie contract before we got to pay this guy. And I believe there's rules to prevent us from ripping up his contract and paying him before then.
After his third, I believe we can do some Josh Allen stuff, but we'll see.
So
listen, we have 2 more years of just chilling. And by the way, it's a retro. That 4 stays there, but then you can extend on top.
Extend on top.
Those are where
The interesting part about the NFL that I think is being underreported or undercovered is the impact of legalized sports gambling, which isn't even fully all the way across the country yet. I mean, it's getting there, but and betting is not really the thing about, and I'll say this super simply, which makes me a simpleton and makes me possibly wrong about this on a couple levels. But since we're not doing a whole show about this, let me say this as short and sweet as I can. Everyone's always bet on sports, but the money that was bet on sports was between people with last names like us. I was going to say like me, but like us, and the people who were responsible for paying money to those people. So now, so it's always always like a gargantuan financial economic scenario. But now that same scenario is playing out in a regulated situation where it's getting taxed and blah blah blah. But the biggest sponsors for things going on in the NFL and a lot of sports for that matter, but especially the NFL is FanDuel, DraftKings, ESPN Bet. And when you talk about the salary cap going up $30 million this year, it's very, very easy to look ahead the next couple of years and see the salary cap jump in again and again and again, because we are pouring money into these companies that are now like our bookie couldn't sponsor the NFL 8 years ago, but now our bookie can. Yeah, and he's got the money to do it, and he's doing it to the tune of billions of dollars. And the ultimate end goal of for us is, and this is why I think the genius of Adam Peters, in a sense, is as we talk about 20 to 27 guys, and then we add 3 or 4 dudes, and then we add 4 or 5 dudes in drafts.
Experience.
And then all of a sudden you have this model where you have the guy at quarterback, you have a couple guys that you're committed to for 2 or 3 years, you have a draft class coming up, you got the draft class, the last couple of draft classes, and then you got a bunch of 1-year contract guys. That model in today's NFL with Jaden Daniels, because of how he came in already, that model gets you at least 8 more years, if not more, of salary cap friendliness. Because what we saw with the $30 million salary cap jump this year is everybody had a couple extra dollars to try to keep their own guys. T. Higgins stays. Trey Smith stays in Kansas City. Ronnie Stanley stays in Baltimore. Guys who teams were legitimately concerned they were going to lose for money reasons, that all of a sudden had an extra 29 point whatever $million in their pocket, and the smart guys smartly spent it. That extra 10, 15 to 20 plus $1 million a year that the NFL is going to give these teams is going to only benefit a man like Adam Peters as he builds around a guy like Jaden Daniels, and he can use this exact model that he's doing right now. Man, I'm so excited about that because that's
Ken,
the way it works.
I wanted to say half that. You nailed it. You said it perfectly. It is the way it works. And at the end of the day, we didn't have an experienced owner. We had a shit bag. Now we have an experienced owner who's experienced in owning and professional franchises and understanding at least that dynamic. Now you get Adam Peters, who studied to be this guy for his whole entire life. DQ, who's come into it. The experiences that these guys have gone through that have led us to be here. Guys, we had 11 offensive guys in our top. In our two deep, I think we had 11 on defense and 11 on offense. 1 on special teams back.
Yeah.
11 and 11. And we were sitting there a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, like, all right, we're about to fill a roster. And we just did. And it was through the madness of everything. And it's remarkable what we've done. We've signed 13, I believe, guys that will affect the 2 deep on offense and 13 more that will affect the 2 deep on defense. Plus, obviously, getting Tressway and Zane Gonzalez back.
Yeah.
That's 13 signings on either side of the ball and 2 on special teams. That's 28 in my book. Those 28 gentlemen have 208 years of NFL experience.
Dude.
Holy effing shit.
Do you want to put that on the screen? That picture? Yeah, of course I can. I'll tell you. I'll do it right now. Watch this.
Well, I don't think that's.
You want to talk about it? I'll put it on the screen. You can talk about it.
Well, I don't think that's not everything I said. That's like a third of it.
Yeah,
that's just alignment. I just did everything from my head.
Well, I want to start on the offensive line. How about that? Let's start on the offensive line because
we just got thicker and bigger and stronger and deeper.
Leapfrogging from last week to this week, the notion that in the news today is that Laramie Tunsil wanted to leave the Houston Texans for money reasons, or I should say that's the suspicion. I don't think there's any. I don't think any reporters breaking the news that that's the reason. But I think we can all agree. He's been on two straight 3-year deals, and his average annual value got leapfrogged by a couple of guys in the last couple of years. He's widely regarded as one of the better left tackles in the league. Therefore, him and his agent are rightfully demanding that same level of compensation. So, 2 things. We just did the thing with Deebo Samuel, which is genius.
Yes, it was.
We didn't commit to him for additional years, but we have some money, and we said, hey, we're going to guarantee you all the monies that you had coming.
You ain't going to want to go nowhere else.
And we hope you have a great year. And
so we can re-sign you to the next.
Sure. Yeah,
100%. Jaden's joint, which is you're a perfect addition. I believe you're a perfect addition. You couldn't be more perfect. What would Jaden desire? Jaden would desire Laramie Tunsil at left. He'd desire a weapon like that. He'd desire to have Zach Ertz back. Let's get what Jaden would desire. Let's keep getting what Jaden would desire. For God's sake, we're so smart getting what Jaden. It's not what Jaden's asked for. It's how you build around a young rook, Ken. And when I talk about that experience, how about this shit? Our captains from the last game are back, all 5 that walked out onto the field against the Eagles.
All right, hold on. Against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, Bobby Wagner.
Bang. Only 1 on defense. I'll give you that hint.
Did they send Jaden out there?
They certainly did.
Okay.
1 special teams and 2 more on offense.
Terry McLaurin Tressway.
Tress was not out there on specials.
Okay.
Because there was a physical contest. And the guy that had played for the Eagles early in his career and has now been our guy forever had to come on out there to make some special teams tackles.
Lamani Zacchaeus.
Jeremy Reeves came out as our specials guy.
Yeah.
And Zach fucking Ertz, of course.
Of course.
Those 5 are back. Now, if you look at the rest of our roster right now, there is 10 other men than those 5 that have captained a season in the NFL. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is the Bruce Allen draft every college captain, because that's what he did.
High school captains. We were lucky.
Exactly.
This guy would go through.
He would seriously go through. He'd pack. He always had a tin of dip. He had a Copenhagen stain, Bruce Allen, on the back of his jeans. He always had when he was trying to be like a man of the people in Northern Virginia. We're like, bro, yeah, you take a little rub every now and then. Take it easy. But just saying, that is very true. Everything I just said, it's real.
Yep.
It's real. It's crazy.
Speaking of true and real, since Robert Cohen is throwing this out there, weekly shout out to our friend T. Now, listen, hey, I think we're both in such good spirits tonight because both of us had a chance to talk to T today, and both of us came away hearing some energy in his voice. He was energetic and upbeat. And he's still battling. So coming back here, and he's got they're doing some flooring in his house, and he's got stuff going. He's got a young kid playing sports. So listen, there's other reasons why
Yes.
but he, as soon as he can come back on a regular basis, he will, obviously. But I just want everyone out there to know we appreciate you guys keeping him in your prayers and thoughts, and remembering him on the board. I, HR had told me very clearly, do not bring up tea tonight. Let the board do it, because of the whole exposing himself to the Entenmann's bakery rack. It was a whole situation.
Listen, I barely remember that conversation, but it's really got legs.
Well, they dug up the Safeway security footage of it, and let me just tell you, first of all, he stands up, and secondly, then he exposes himself to the Entenmann's rack. There's a lot going on there. We're going to talk about that at a later date. Robert Cohen, we appreciate you guys.
Yes.
And we appreciate everyone remembering our friend T. And you can
if
remember him in
dodge
person when he's here.
If you can dodge him off.
If you can dodge him off,
then you would have been safe that day at Safeway.
Yeah. So getting back to what you're talking about, Kevin, in terms of
so many captains, so much amazingness
and amazingness. So yes or no? Does Laremy Tunsil have a new contract before the start of the season?
So I'm very curious about this, because the answer I think we all would say right now to will Terry McLaurin have a new contract before the start of the season would be yes, and I think that's the domino that sets things falling. So.
Take care of Terry first. I'm with you.
It also clears up if we want to make an addition or two. If this is, something we need to do, it will free us up for some shit this year. Not that that's of huge importance.
Yep.
I don't believe.
Well, here's the thing. The thing is, at wide receiver,
he just can't go into that deal, right?
McLaurin and Debo were both coming up on the last year of their contract that had a voided year. So with Debo, they removed the voided year, guaranteed him his money. There's no games or shenanigans involved. He plays this year, and he doesn't have to worry about anything. Terry McLaurin still has a voided year that's carrying some salary cap stuff. So it's not. I mean, obviously, we don't need the salary cap relief, but I do think that it's a great time to commit to a guy like Terry McLaurin. You have the money to do it.
How about forget about anything financial, smart, or anything that has to do with business? Let's just do the right thing, because we all know that Terry McLaurin should write down the number he wants. It'll probably be less than what he could have gotten anywhere, including here. But my point is this. Let's just keep Terry as effing happy as we want to keep Jaden.
See, I want, what I really want, in my ideal world, we would announce a multi-year contract extension with a bunch of guaranteed money to Terry McLaurin a couple days before the opening game.
Perfect.
It would be so cool.
Well, I wouldn't.
But I don't want to hang it over his head for all of training camp. I don't know how that works.
I know. I don't either. Because if he tears his ACL on day one of training camp, there has to be. I get it.
Maybe you would guarantee the money first. I don't know how it works, but I just think the momentum that you would gain from saying you're our guy.
I think everyone here is on the same page. Someone say something if you're not. But let's make sure Terry knows that Terry. I mean, it is 1A, 1B.
Yes.
Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin. And it's not because of how great they are on the football field, which it is. It's because Terry McLaurin is the lifeblood, the heart and soul of our freaking franchise. Does anybody else not believe that?
He took that? I mean, Jonathan Allen might not have been our heart and soul. He was our guts for a while. He was kind of like that alpha male beast athlete.
I preferred Terry McLaurin's way of going about it
100%
by 1,000 times.
It became Terry. It became Terry quickly. I mean, I think Jonathan Allen was the best player on our team. When he first came in, just because he was such a stud athlete and he was so big and strong. Terry McLaurin came in, and I think he assumed that and became that.
When they hit him and he showed up and he did his thing, he just is always over. He's always overachieved. He's an overachiever. No one else has been anywhere near the overachiever that Terry McLaurin has. Yep. And that was during the lean years when no one achieved shit besides Lionel Fletcher and a couple other cats, Santana Moss, and I'm sure there's a few other names, but those are the ones that jump out at me. Him. So shit.
Red Davis.
And obviously, if you're gonna bust punch, then you gotta land 3 quick to the face and skedaddle. Or else the rest of your time is going to be on borrowed.
Let's move to, let's say, defensive back. I think that we still kind of.
Yes.
We can say
yes.
we got a few guys there.
We can also say we need a few guys there.
We need a few guys there. We have a few guys. We need a few guys.
We got some good dudes in there. It looks like it could be a fun party.
So when I watch mock drafts, there's tons of corners and edge rushers that are floating around in the bottom third of the draft. Now, granted, if you're a day one starter at corner, it's going to be hard pressed that you're going to be available at 29. If you're a day one edge rushing stud, again, 29 is a long ways for you to wait to get drafted. I think that one of those guys will be there. I mean, I'm out like Malachi Starks and Nick Emenwari, the two safeties in the draft. I think they're going to be gone. I think that the corners, the Will Campbells, and there's like 3 or 4 of them that'll be gone before we draft at 29. But I think there's a better chance that there's a defensive lineman that we want at 29 than a cornerback.
It keeps looking like James Pierce from Tennessee.
The edge rusher?
Yeah.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's more likely that guy is available for us than a defensive back, whether he be safety or corner.
No, and I want it to be. Listen, I don't know these corners. I don't.
Yep.
It's hard. I want one that fits the description that Fred Smoot said on your back deck to us 6 years ago. In between 5'11" and 6'2".
And long ass arms.
His arm should go well below his belt. He should be his shoulder.
Yes.
Remember, he said we size these. He said when a D-back sees a D-back at the airport or meets at at the bar,
how long is the
right
reach?
away, that ego, that you're an elite athlete on God's green earth, and you're going to size that cat up. Like you're going to guard the fastest, baddest ass MFers on planet Earth. And they're going to run at you as fast as they can. And your job is to get in their way. That's nuts.
That's right.
So he says we jet 5'11" to 6'2". And now I think that number has increased since that was been about a decade ago. Well, maybe 6 to 7 years. Anyways.
Are you familiar with Momo in Bethesda?
Yeah.
You been
there? Yeah.
They're fried chicken.
Yeah, of course.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's delicious.
The first time I ever went there with Fred. It was Harrison Weinhold, Fred Smoot, myself, and a lady friend of Fred's. We went to Momo, and we're sitting at one of those outdoor tables right there. Was that Cordell?
Yep.
On Cordell. And this big, they just brought out, we just asked for we're like, dude, just give us a huge plate of chicken. And they put it right down there. And then it's like the drumsticks, and it's like the perfect crust with the perfect fry.
How they fry it, it's
so great. It's so amazing. And so you picture a 4-person table with 6 chairs, right? So we're kind of spread out, and Fred is on this corner of the opposite corner of me from the table, and the chicken's in the middle of the table, and we're going at it. And next thing you know, I look at him, and he looks at me, and that's when I was like, Fred, you taught me about reach, because I'm like, there's 2 pieces of chicken left, and there's the one that I want, and I'm going for it, and Fred is ready to, and I'm like, he taught me about reach. He looked at me, and he was just like, and it was like, I'm like, and then climbing on the table trying to, I'm like, God damn it, Fred, took my last piece. He took the big piece of chicken.
Well, to be fair, homie, he deserved it. And
Yeah,
also, to be fair, my brother, he told you that he was going to open up a Bonchon fried chicken joint on Mars. He told us that right there in that backyard.
Yep,
he said that I could be the bartender, you're the GM, but he had the vision. And I was just worried about transport. I swear to God, I wish this conversation was not true.
I'm
glad it is. I'm just saying.
And he also wanted to open a Waffle House in the city. That was another big one of his.
No, bowling alley on Mars also.
And a bowling alley on Mars.
He said, the chicken in the bowling alley was going to be a thing and that was going to be on Mars.
I'd go there. I'd do it.
He said Jerome Bettis was the only other NFL player that could ever challenge. He's the best bowler right now in NFL history besides Jerome Bettis. Those two have had some celebrity bowl it. And he's dead serious about this.
I know. I know.
I know, but if we could do one thing, Ken,
Fred's coming back. Fred's coming on this show.
He should. He has the best May I say that? I look into the camera after he came on this show and treated us all so amazingly well, and he was so funny. We hung out all night long. He was signing autographs at the stadium in the suite level. That next weekend, my mother-in-law brought in 7 of her mentally challenged kids that she teaches, and someone had donated the tickets. The time he spent with them, and she said, "You were with my son-in-law last week. His name was," he goes, "Oh, I met Kevin and Ken and Tim. They were wonderful gentlemen, and we enjoyed the heck out of ourselves talking about the Washington Redskins." And she said, "You remember?" And I couldn't believe he did.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
But he did.
he did.
How about that guy? Let's get him on. And we got to get Aaron Wilson on, the main reporter for the Houston Texans, to talk to us about Laramie Tunsil.
Yes, that dude.
Aaron Wilson, we all know he's legit. He was.
Do you have his number? We can call him right now.
I do. He's a D tackle for my dad at St. John's College High
Should I call
School.
him?
I don't think you can call Aaron. I can't call Aaron right now. He is a lovely wife.
All right, I'm ready to call someone.
No. Aaron Wilson, if I got to give him a heads up, he is their top beat reporter forever. If you Google him, what another amazing story. This is a
Greg said, as I started
he's a St. John's cadet.
As I started my Fred Swift story, he said somehow the story also ends with the pile of bikinis.
What? To be fair, Greg is not wrong.
No, he's
it's just
not.
These 2 stories did.
It reminds me when you talk about famous things, all the crazy things Fred has said while on this property. It also reminds me of Keith Feeney. I think those 2 guys in particular. Now, there's been other dudes, obviously, but Keith Feeney, who isn't as big of a name as Fred Smoot, but Keith Feeney's conversation with us about who we should marry and why, and how miserable. He was like, I mean, his whole.
Well, we were already married, but we were checking boxes, and he was like, "Y'all are done well."
Yeah, Keith, by the way, Keith Feeney, if you don't know him, he's a great man, and I love you, Keith. If you're watching. And you gave us a memorable night. But Keith and Fred, for whatever reason, those 2 guys, their homilies on the patio stayed out to me the most
because they treat people amazingly.
Yeah,
that's why. That's all. That's what you brought to this place. And we had there was beat reporters, and Sean Springs would just roll in here. For 10 years we've been doing this. So you can't be saying 3 because Sean Springs wouldn't have rolled in here in 3.
And I know,
and Springs and Donaldson have been dating and doing amazing together. I'm not sure if they're still together.
I'm not sure if they're still together.
They were so much fun when they were, but whatever.
That was a thing. That was Jules.
And by the way, Greg Martin, do not combine the Kevin Hogan and the bikinis request into 2 back-to-back days. Because if Kevin Hogan rolls in a bikini next week, you know that Ken Meringolo wields the hammer in this.
Just saying.
County.
Let's make it happen.
All right. I want to get a phone call with Aaron Wilson. I want to do that this summer.
I do too. Well,
I want to hear about Laramie
next,
Tunsil.
That should be next week.
Let's make sure everyone's okay with it. Do you guys want to hear from their primo 10-year blah blah blah?
The Houston Chronicle reporter?
But now he's on his own. Now he's in his basement doing his thing.
Those are the people I trust the most.
I agree. And by the way, he has been nothing but awesome forever. I want to hear his input on Laramie Tunsil and who we're getting as a former captain of the Texans. We can do that this summer, and we're gonna, man.
Former captain.
Yeah, I know, but and Aaron Wilson tells it like it is.
All right, we're gonna. Greg, get your red pen ready.
We're going. All right,
we're gonna go one more round.
Let's go.
Let's start here. All right, so it's Rocky IV versus Bull Durham. I am I'm
Rocky IV.
I'm
dude.
Rocky IV all day.
Yeah,
that's old school. Cool.
I mean, I love Bull Durham, but Rocky
do too.
Rocky IV.
Field of Dreams or Bad News Bears?
Field of Dreams. Due to many, and Bad News Bears is awesome. Let's proceed.
Moving. Seabiscuit versus When We Were Kings. This is the worst part of my bracket.
I don't know.
I
honestly, I'm looking at you because I see Seabiscuit.
Don't bet on anything.
And,
let's just push Seabiscuit through.
Yes.
Let's push him through. When We Were Kings.
Triple crown
I'm sorry.
ass mother, huh?
Friday Night Lights versus Caddyshack. Listen, Caddyshack is not losing in their first round. Okay.
I thought you might go the other way, but
no, we're gonna be talking about Caddyshack.
Yeah. All right. Are you writing this down?
Craig is. Cinderella Man versus Hoop Dreams. I actually watched Hoop Dreams. I don't know why it's a 3 seed. I don't think that's Greg's fault. It's a hardcore movie. I mean,
Cinderella Man because Hoop Dreams was very introspective, but you don't walk away ready to have a great rest of your day. That's a rainy day movie, and schedule a nap right afterwards.
all right, Cinderella Man. We'll the 30 seed over the 3
I
seed.
think we have to, brother.
8 Men Out versus North Dallas 40. Now, North Dallas 40, an interesting buy into the second round. I'm going to stick with 8 Men Out.
Me too. I'm with you.
All right.
Ray Liotta, baby.
Rocky 3 versus Moneyball. I love Moneyball, but Rocky 3 is kind of a juggernaut scenario.
Monster, and Moneyball was also more about business than sports.
Yep.
That's all.
And again, another movie that I watched and I learned about something sports related that I learned more about because I watched the movie.
And what Billy Bean did was freaking spectacular. Yes. What a dude. What a cool story. It was.
It was a cool story. Mighty Ducks versus The Wrestler. Again, I'm going Mighty Ducks.
It's not close to me.
Mickey Rourke is great. Marissa Tomei, great.
I love both.
No
but it's not
problem.
close,
but the freaking flying V, give me a break. Here we go. Keep it going. Jerry Maguire versus Raging Bull. I'm going to be honest with you. I was willing to let a 31 beat a 34, but I'm not giving Tom Cruise anything over De Niro.
Fair.
Rocky 2 over Miracle. This is where I diverge because I told you Rocky 1 and Rocky 3 are my top Rocky movies. Miracle is up there for me.
I'm just going to tell you that you're such a dick, but also I love Miracle.
It's so
I'm willing to 2-man go Miracle with you right now.
All right. By the way, you can't. This is off camera.
No, Kurt Russell.
But we're holding hands.
No, we weren't.
We're holding hands.
We both decided to have Kurt Russell's haircut by fall.
What team do you play for?
Kurt Russell and Goldie, mostly Goldie Hawn.
Mostly Goldie Hawn. Karate Kid versus Pride of the Yankees. Listen, I understand, Greg, that you're from a part of the world.
Sorry
where
that the great Bambino never learned a hand-to-hand combat.
But the Flying Swan and dude, he got Elizabeth Shue. Listen,
the crane kick, bro. What's the Flying Swan?
I don't know. I'm all over the place. But Karate Kid's winning this game. Pride of the Yankees. I'm sorry, you're out.
Fair.
The Natural versus Slapshot. Listen, I'm going Natural. I'm pushing Natural through. I love Slapshot.
It's not close. It's Natural.
It's the Natural. All right.
And Greg's so mad because Hoop Dreams, the most depressing movie.
Hoop Dream was your win. Yes, dude.
Done.
Greg, listen, we need to talk. All right, White Man Can't Jump over Rocky. That's not a thing.
Come on.
Chariots of Fire over Major League. Major League is a
Major League
slam dunk.
And I love Chariots of Fire so much. Major League.
League of Our Own versus Ford versus Ferrari. Okay, so here's the deal. Now, I like Little Giants and League of Our Own 1. Ford versus Ferrari is a good movie. Have you watched it?
It's not. It's not a League of Their Own. That I'm certain of. So now what do we do?
Wait. What? You're still pushing League of Our Own?
It's not even close. I love, bro. League of Their Own is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Forget about sports movies.
What's the name of their team?
I've never seen Ford versus Ferrari. I'd like to kick in the nuts.
I love Ford versus Ferrari.
Congratulations.
I'm going to give you League of Our Own, but you got to tell me the name of the team that Gina Davis and
the Georgia Peaches.
The Georgia Peaches they played for, and Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell.
May,
for the record,
all the way May was Madonna's name.
All the way May.
In case you wanted to know. Yes.
Rookie of the Year versus Hoosiers.
Gina Davis was the best player in the league.
It's Hoosiers. She was the best player in the league.
It's Hoosiers. Of course, it's Hoosiers.
All right.
Yes.
All right. We'll come back. Let's one last segment where people see our faces and hopefully, NES. Yeah, the Natural. It's got to be the Natural.
It was. We chose the Natural. We did it.
It is. I mean, Greg, your documentary love. The winner of all sports movies, Hoop Dreams.
I know. Arthur, those guys sucked.
AG.
They picked the wrong two.
And
I know, but like I played against two of them.
It was fine. It was fine.
In Carum at Montgomery County Recreation. That's all.
It just wasn't fun.
The whole journey was dark.
Yeah.
And like everyone was mad.
And I'm okay with like
and
showing the underbelly
was
of
for
some
like
things.
2 years. Now everyone gets 8 bazillion.
I know.
They're fine with 80 pairs of sneakers. Like that was the darkest point of being great at high school basketball. For college basketball.
I'm trying to think, was Air Bud in the same time frame as Hoop Dreams?
I don't recognize Air Bud.
I'm trying to think of other terrible basketball movies.
Once I've gone to college.
Space Jam? I can't believe Space Jam's not on here.
Why?
Because we had there's some movies on here that I would say why about. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with that.
But it's not Greg's fault. Avoid the clap, Jimmy.
That's fair.
That's good advice. All right, so let's
hold up. The Waterboy is my favorite sports movie of all time, and if it's not in the top fucking 48,
I know,
because it's my like 1 seed in a field of 64.
Sure,
I don't understand this, so I am super pissed. Wildcats? There's no Wildcats.
This is why.
What the shit?
I know, dude. I know.
All right. Well, let's do what we got to do.
Let's play out. Let's roll out the string. We got. So we pushed. Ooh, that by the way, your Wildcats thing got a thumbs up. It made somebody hit the thumbs up. So you know, good for
Wildcats. Waterboy is the #1 football movie that I will ever watch for the rest of my life, because the rest of them are shit that was like 10 years after when I already played, and we already did that shit, and everyone was like, oh, it's neat how these guys got together. I'm like, no, I lived that way. Sorry, this isn't funny. Maybe everyone else in the country didn't live this way, but eat a bag of shit.
Well, the good thing about sports movies, and this is why we're doing sports movies, the good thing about sports movies is you don't need CGI necessarily. You don't need, I mean, you have the settings. You have like the most awesomest stadiums of all time. You have Notre Dame for Rudy. You have
remember when Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime for the Mud Dogs and won the Bourbon Bowl? Yeah, and an SEC stadium was where they filmed it, and it was the coolest freaking movie I ever saw in my life. I've never had more fun watching a movie. Like, it's the most entertaining. Like, if you want to get the bean beat out of you, if you just want your bean sprouts smothered all over the movie theater floor, and you don't want to have tears pouring down your face, I do that shit at home.
That's right.
When I want to watch the Bourbon Bowl. And Bobby Boucher and Vicky Valancourt.
Yes.
Like, come on, man. That's not top 48. I'm looking at shit that I wouldn't watch in 100 million years. And I'm just being fair.
Blue Chips is also a movie that should have made the list. By the way, this is like Greg Martin did not make this list.
I know.
No, I'm not telling you.
I'm not judging. I'm not. But Greg Martin said Waterboy isn't in the top 100.
No, he's wrong.
And I can't possibly imagine that.
All right, so we have of these 4 movies, we went Rocky 4 and Field of Dreams. Rocky 4 versus Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams takes it. I love my Rocky shit and Ivan Drago, and I love that Mick went. I love that Paulie went to Russia. My favorite part.
Of course.
He didn't have shit to do in Russia.
No.
But he went, and they lost, so.
They
won the fight, but they lost this fight tonight.
Seabiscuit versus Caddyshack, which I think we've pushed Seabiscuit long enough. So Caddyshack versus Rocky 4. I'm going Caddyshack.
No, Rocky 4 lost, I thought, to A League of Their Own. I mean, to
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. Yes.
All right, so Caddyshack over Field of Dreams then.
It's tough. It's 2 different emotions. I go Caddyshack.
Caddyshack. All right, so that's our first Final Four winner. Here we go.
Fair.
We got let's see, 8 Men Out versus Cinderella Man? It's got to be 8 Men Out.
Of course it does.
We got Rocky 3 versus Mighty Ducks. I think it's Rocky 3.
Tough one.
No, Rocky 3.
But no, that's Clubber Lang, bro.
Yeah, it is.
And all of a sudden Apollo is on Rockies. Like, come on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
So that means it's 8 Men Out versus Rocky 3. Now again,
I'm Rocky 3.
Sports movies.
Rocky 3.
Sports movies.
8 Men Out was good, but it wasn't great. Rocky 3 was effing spectacular at the time I saw it in the theater. I can't even, I'm just being honest.
All right, Rocky 3
I am
makes
all over Rocky 3.
So Rocky 3.
I loved it.
Rocky 3 will face. Thank goodness it won't face Rocky 4. Rocky 3 and Caddyshack are getting ready for a Final Four bout. In quadrant 3, we have Miracle.
Right.
Versus
Miracle's great.
Raging Bull.
Well, I'm Miracle all day.
Miracle.
And Raging Bull is a great movie, but sports movie? Come on.
Karate Kid versus The Natural. This is where I'm willing to go back to. I think The Natural is the best movie.
It is the best. It's the best sports movie. Although Elizabeth Shue is not in it.
No, she's not.
And she is in Karate Kid.
But Kim Basinger is in The Natural.
But maybe
Great.
Fair.
Kim Basinger is great.
She is great.
She's great.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
But so Elizabeth Shue is. Those are two of my all-time favorite. Gorgeous, talented, amazing actresses of my youth.
Yeah. I think The Natural is the best movie from that bracket.
It was
that side of the bracket.
So great when I saw it. All right.
So we're saying Natural over Miracle.
Yes, okay. I am.
Natural's going to Final Four.
I am. And I love Miracle, but I did play baseball, and I never put skates on, and I've never hit a puck. So that might be why people would be like, what an idiot. But you know what? I did play baseball.
The original Rocky versus Major League.
What's the original Rocky?
It's the original Rocky all day.
And over. But,
one seed,
but I love Major League. I love Major League. I couldn't love it more. Bob Uecker,
love
Joe
it like
Boo,
a son.
Corbin Burnson. Like, dude, I mean, come on. Not only was Charlie Sheen Wild Thing, but he was in the federal penitentiary.
Tom Berenger, right?
Yes. Dude.
Tom Berenger. Oh, Renee Russo.
And
Great Renee
Russo. She was second hottest.
She was so hot.
She was second hottest.
In the movie?
Too. Margaret Whitten. The owner was a Las Vegas showgirl, and her 89-year-old husband passed away. Yes. And she wanted to sell it off to somewhere in Vegas.
She had
and remember they took the little puzzle pieces
on her
off
boobs.
of her, and because she was a Vegas showgirl. Yeah. That's how she was awarded the Cleveland Indians franchise. Oh, and by the way, she was so great looking. Renee Russo, though. If you don't think Renee Russo is not good looking, then you don't understand what good looking is. I don't care who you are or where you're from on the globe.
She's so hot. I love her.
She's a very good looking human being.
She is if you look up the word good looking.
I agree. I agree, Ken.
All right, so Rocky makes it through all the way to the
There's so much Rocky. I know, but Rocky is
we are going to have to go League of Our Own versus Hoosiers. I'm going to give you this one.
Shit, man. Listen, as much as I love a League of Their Own, Hoosiers is not. It's like a 22.5 freaking point spread on March Madness this week, and it's Hoosiers.
But then that sets up possibly the greatest matchup to get the Final Four that we've had so far, which is Rocky versus Hoosiers.
Fuck.
I know. That's right.
I don't know what to do.
I know. I'll tell you what.
We might have to phone a friend.
We have enough. There's a lot of Rocky going on in this list, and I believe that's Hoosiers.
Let's go.
Is Hoosiers.
Saw it with my dad at the theater. It might be my favorite movie of all time.
It's the simplest, greatest.
Done.
It's Hoosiers. All right. Bless you. All right. So we have from this page.
Jimmy Chitwood.
God bless you. We have Rocky 3 versus anyone. Rocky 3 versus Caddyshack. I'm gonna say Caddyshack.
Sports movie?
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna say Rocky 3. All effing day.
All right, I'm gonna call it on a person from the board. It's not gonna be Greg. It's going to be somebody who's out there right now. NES Tecmo. You get to pick between Caddyshack and damn it. And
Elizabeth Shue and everything. The Boys. Elizabeth Shue and Adventures in Babysitting. Elizabeth Shue walking down the goddamn street in 1980. Elizabeth Shue.
Wait, what is this?
One of the most gorgeous humans. Sure she's had every shape and she's had every age, and she is, dude, it's Selma Hayek and Elizabeth Shue have withstood the test of time along with Dolly Parton. And someday we'll vote on Team Mom, guys.
Hoosiers versus we're saying Hoosiers versus Hoosiers versus Caddyshack. Caddyshack versus God damn it, I can't. I'm like mixed up between all my. You said because I said Caddyshack and you said Rocky 3.
No, we stuck with Caddyshack. No, we stuck with Rocky 3. No, we stuck with Caddyshack because there's too many Rockies.
There's too many Rockies.
There's too many Rockies.
Okay, so it's Hoosiers versus Caddyshack.
Yes.
And Rocky 3 versus The Natural. Okay, sorry guys.
Hoosiers versus Caddyshack. Right. I'm going to step up and say Hoosiers.
Hoosiers versus Caddyshack.
I'm going Gene Hackman. I'm going Dentine. I'm going Jimmy Chitwood. I'm going Shooter. I'm going Don't Get Caught Watching the Paint Dry. I'm going I thought you'd be a lot younger. I'm going with
I will say
The
that
best basketball movie ever made is what I'm
we
going
did
with.
comedies. Was it last week with Derek and Caddyshack? I believe it was Caddyshack in the finals. And I think the fact that it has the kind of appeal to also be in a sports bracket, but to me, when you talk about sports movies,
Oh,
like
God.
you have to, it's got to be an emotional. A great sports movie is an emotional movie. That's why I like movies like The Rookie with Dennis Quaid, or like the movies that are maybe don't rise, that they didn't win like Academy Awards, but a sports movie has to tug at the heartstrings.
And when he looks into the camera and says, "I'll make it,"
I'll make it.
there was no better part of
I'll make it.
Caddyshack.
Jimmy, no, Caddyshack was an all-time banger.
Adoration of Caddyshack. Adoration of Caddyshack, but this is different. Hoosiers hit
Hoosiers
different.
the best sports movie between those
Hoosiers
two.
hit
All right,
different.
Rocky 3 versus The Natural. Now, this is where Rocky 3 isn't my top Rocky. Rocky 1 is, and it already lost.
Rocky 2 is mine, and Rocky 1's my dad's, because he said, you got to learn. To get up off the mat.
Yep.
Love it. He lost. It was a great story. But the end, he lost. There's going to be a 2. And I was like, there is going to be a 2. And when there was, because Jaws taught me there'd be a 2.
They filmed them all together. Sylvester Stallone was a genius.
Yes, he was. He went to St. John's College High School, everyone. He also went to Blair. He also went to 15,000 other places.
Yeah. I'm going to say The Natural over Rocky 3. And I think, once again, it's a sports movie with a core story. Now, listen, the character of Roy Hobbs, and the character of Rocky Balboa.
Wonder Boy, what was it? Wonder Boy.
Yeah, that there's you can't, like, the character of Rocky is an all-time sports character. He had, the reason why I say The Natural is because in Rocky 1 he lost, in Rocky 2 he got up off the mat and he beat Creed. In Rocky 3 he was avenging, he was going after Mr. T.
But they brought Creed back in so smoothly.
Yes, they did.
It was Billy D. smooth, Colt 45 action.
But
sir,
I'm just saying,
no one does it like the Bull.
Roy Hobbs got shot.
No one does. He did.
We don't know where it
assumed an identity.
Brian Robinson did. He basically is like the Brian Robinson of sports characters. He came back.
So he's the most glorious, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Caucasian baseball player to change identities over a 13-year span. Everyone was like, "Where did he go?" And I was like, "Well, it's probably Laguna Beach or a beach."
I don't know. I've watched that movie.
One of 4 beaches.
So many times, and I've watched that movie where I like fall asleep in the middle because you're watching it on, in high school and college and whatever. After you're like, it's a Sunday afternoon and you're on the couch and you're just like flipping, and you get to The Natural and you watch it and you're just in and out of like a Sunday hangover, nap.
Sure. Roy Hobbs.
I feel like I've woken up from a million of those naps midway through The Natural and asked myself,
why is someone bleeding out the ribcage?
Why someone bleed out the ribcage? How did we miss like 5 hours of this movie? What the fuck happened?
Why is this guy now 39 batting third?
And why is nobody asking any questions until like?
And he's so fucking handsome.
And why is Robert Duvall? He did a whole comic strip about this guy, like 7 minutes ago in this movie.
And this lady was she was a scoundrel. Wait a minute, ladies are scoundrels? That was kind of the moral of the story.
Just did a whole comic
Not all
strip about
ladies.
this
There's
guy.
some ladies. Let's keep them away from Deebo Samuel. Shout out all ladies in the DMV. Stay away from Deebo Samuel for the next 13 months.
Here's what I think is interesting about this. By the way, yes, but here's what I think is interesting about this matchup. It's boxing and baseball, both sports that used to be at the crux of all sports of this country before football overtook it, and to some extent, college football, college basketball are now overtaking both of those sports. Baseball is still great, but baseball and boxing are not what they were. And the beauty of The Natural to me is it like perfectly encapsulates like what is great about baseball, the way Field of Dreams does, and it's an emotional thing.
Well, I mean, like similarly, but not the exact. But but
go ahead, Tom. I can't.
I learned a lot from The Natural. Like, oh my gosh. I just wanted to play baseball and not like be on the lam for 20 years in between. Especially if I have a beautiful hair of blonde and 2 beautiful blue eyes.
Mm.
Robert Redford was like, I can't even get on a minor league team. Like, he was no Shoeless Joe. He got shot and stabbed and turned over by a lady.
That's right.
It was a nice lesson, but also, yeah.
All right, so Hoosiers versus The Natural in the finals, which sports movie wise,
I love that we got to that point. I applaud that.
A super credible that's
and by the way, I applaud everyone involved.
they're great movies and they're great sports movies. I am. Can I? How about this?
Boxing is the most dramatic sport ever.
It is the most dramatic sport ever, and Sylvester Stallone knew that he had the
sweet science,
cat by
not the
tail.
new shit. The sweet science, the sugar rays, the freaking
yeah. But the cool thing about Sylvester Stallone and what he did with Rocky was what the mid 70s, and he had this story, and he was like, oh, by the way, boxing's huge. Movies are, and he believed in it, and he went with it, and it worked, and it was amazing. He cashed in on boxing. Boxing was the thing. Boxing was the thing forever. The reason why, so I want to go 1, 2, 3, say our winner at the same time. So Hoosiers versus The Natural. 3, 2, 1.
Hoosiers.
Yeah. Yes. Hoosiers is the greatest sports movie as deemed by this.
When Jimmy
basement.
Chitwood looked to the entire audience and said,
I'll make it.
I'll make it.
I'll make it.
A man, a few words. Just the whole, that was the part.
Yeah.
Like,
Derek Queened it.
give me the mother
Give me
effing
the
ball.
mother effing ball.
He did Derek Queen it, and I'm so proud Derek Queen did do that. And then shouted out for the Queen City.
For the Queen City.
Homeboy did it all right.
Little charm situation.
Derek Queen did exactly what Jimmy Chitwood would have done.
Yeah.
Specifically
Now,
in spades. That's
obviously-
what happens when someone says,
Yeah.
give it to me, and they knock it down. Then they make a movie.
Now, here's the thing. Everyone, obviously, we watch the Terps. I know I mean, you're a Duke guy, I'm a Maryland guy, but at the end of the day, we watch big time basketball. The cool thing about Maryland making it to the Sweet 16 is that the whole entire country gets to soak that in and get ready for a Maryland-Florida matchup. And the cool thing about the conversation, sports wise, is you can make millions of dollars playing college basketball now. Now,
Right.
he's going to be a first round draft pick. Will he be lottery? I don't know. Will he be
Who,
just
Queen?
Derek Queen?
He might be a top 5.
Well, I think he should be. But
Oh,
people,
no. I'm telling you. So I've been following it recently.
He should be.
Duke's got 3 in the top 10, and he is certainly over 2 of them or 1 of them.
I
And
think
everyone.
he was one and done from the outset.
Bro.
But the only reason why you would even think that it's possible that he would stay is if the millions were there for him to do so. It's over. Well, the other thing about is NBA.
What he just did.
It's guaranteed contracts.
What he just did.
But by the way, everyone talks about the last shot. If you watch that game, he made the first 6 points for the Maryland Terrapins,
And it wasn't one of his best games.
He played. I'm saying he hit 2 3-pointers to open the scoring for Maryland.
Right.
He had 6 3-pointers all season long. So he did weird. It was a weird situation.
He's taking a bunch. He shoots about 22%. He will knock
Yes.
one up, but because he's the best one on the court and he feels
Yes.
that way.
So he came into Maryland to be a one and doneer. They made the money to make that happen.
Yes.
I don't think we're to the point yet where at least a program like Maryland can compete with the NBA. The other thing about the NBA is it's guaranteed money, right?
Cooper Flagg's at Duke. Everyone's like, he wants to come back. He looked at his parents and said, run it back. He did all that. And
They're
so
like,
all then they put up
The
then you get
Wizards
some economists that put up with the money he would miss out on by missing out on this draft by 1 year in the next 15 years. And you start looking at scopes, and I'm sure there's agents and everyone coming in with these graphs and these charts. And the charts, the money goes like this.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
That's why.
But
You
the question
can't
is he going to
delay.
Eli Manning us if the Wizards draft him?
He gone. No. Because to be fair, this dude is the ultimate competitor. He was 17 until late December. You know that?
Yeah.
He went up a year. His twin brother played in Greensboro at the high school level just to be near his twin.
Yep.
They have an older brother that was at Maine. Now he's going to Maine. This is a dude that's going to make sure that the NBA is alive for the next 20 years.
The best thing he has going for him, which is saying a lot because he's got a lot going for him, is that against.
He has no flaws in his game.
There's no flaws in his game. No. The best thing that's going for him coming into the NBA draft is he played against the dream team in the most meaningful possible way.
And
He dominated, and they all said
there's only one guy that we couldn't guard.
They all said
the baby, the youngest guy on the team.
He was everywhere, and he plays basketball.
Derek Queen and him were teammates
in Montverde. There was the third guy.
There's two more. The dude from Houston or whatever. Whoever just lost.
But does Duke have two?
The fourth
Montverde guys, or just one?
No.
There was three of them. There's 3 one-and-doners.
It's crazy
from Montverde.
It's crazy,
and we got one of them.
It's
in
crazy.
Maryland. Yeah,
crazy.
How
about
God
this?
Damn it! Who was it? It's someone else still alive in the tournament, right?
I want all you guys to know this. DC's 10 miles wide at its widest point. When these young guys come up and they're good at basketball or football or baseball locally, like there's always some cats that like bring everyone around each other. So the Nats and the Wizards and the Skins and the Commanders, same team.
Yeah.
These guys all know each other, especially when they're like 19 to 24. And for some reason, the last couple of years, everyone on all these teams has been so cool. Maryland's Crab 5 has been amazing. The freaking Caps have turned their whole entire shit around with these young bucks. We have the most amazing situation going on with JD. And boy, these Nationals got all kinds of.
We got to talk about the
dudes.
Nats.
Yeah, I mean,
I think next week, since it's opening day next week, how about this? We'll do a little baseball talk. Anyone who's not a Nats fan, tell us who your team is. We will talk about them. We'll get the conversation going. Baseball is started, and it's a fun situation for the Washington Nationals. Our rebuild has been going on for quite some time. 2019, we won the World Series. Maybe not remember that. That was 6 years ago. So we have got to figure something out. However, the cool thing about the Washington Nationals as Washington sports fans,
I'm taking one sip. Don't judge me.
Is that we're loaded with young talent. Loaded with young talent.
So much fun.
No one knows what's going to happen.
So cool. Who does?
But
still fun.
Damn it, it's Prospect City. They're all going to be playing this year. We get the first pick in the draft, so it's going to be fun. All right. Hoosiers wins your sports movie draft tonight. We'll be talking more about the little moves we can make between now and the draft, little moves we can make roster wise between now and training camp. We're really talking about the margins. We're really talking about the far edges. How do you smooth it out going into this season? It doesn't feel like there's going to be any big moves. I know Trey Hendrickson is just like out there.
Nah, he's talking about sitting out there.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing.
I love that we're patient on that.
Yes,
we would have signed him and all his uncles.
Let him stew
8 years ago because
let the pot boil.
Hey man, we understand what a real true badass pass rusher looks like, and and we got one, and he came down south for a year or two. And this young man, Mr. Wise, is
Dietrich.
So today, Dietrich. No. You and I did the same thing. We're very, we loved we have too many pronunciations.
Mm-hmm.
Dietrich is what I was told.
Dietrich Wise.
He's
a guy.
So he's been the
captain. What's his? By the way, what's his contract for us?
1 year.
Just a 1 year deal, right?
He's only been 9 years for he was with the guy. Mm-hmm. He's seen all of it. He says, I've evolved. And his whole thing is, oh no, I'm best at. If you Google his introduction press conference today, guys, Dietrich Wise may be the greatest, kindest, smartest, most relentless, and his fingers are longer than these damn He is going to be an old school Redskin for us. We just got Jonathan Jones and Dietrich Wise. Dietrich. I just know this. The end is a CH, not a K.
Dietrich.
Exactly.
The cool thing about that is
He's the coolest guy. He's the coolest interview. He's the coolest guy.
Yeah.
He's the nicest
We have a
guy.
guy
He's the
like that
best
now.
guy. He's the best guy. He's so great though. And his fingers, as he's talking, he's very demonstrative. And they're like this big. And you're like,
Is he from Sierra Leone?
6'5", 280. I can set the edge. I can rush the passer. I can do whatever you need. I can be the captain. He's been the captain. He's been in freaking. He's played for the best of the best. He understands this league like a son bitch. We got a dude. Dietrich Wise.
No, he's from the. He's Virginia.
I
played a little bit of football with this kid from Sierra Leone, and when he unclenched his fist, it was like a horror movie. I was like, "What is going on?" It was like, and he played cornerback at University of Maryland, and he could get his hands on everything, but he couldn't catch to save his life.
It's okay. That's what DBs do.
Yep. That's why they're DBs, right?
And that's why they get paid.
That's why they get paid. Now, the thing about guys like Wise and guys like Kinlaw and our signing of them, as a final thought, is that this is the difference between hiring the next great thing in terms of coordinators and coaching prospects from college and coming in to do what they do, implement their Steve Spurrier style, offense.
We don't need to practice all that much.
And that when you get a Dan Quinn and a Joe Witt, guys who have a history in the league, a philosophy that has been decades in the making, that we talk about scheme-based tinkering.
It's our favorite term.
Well, I
position-based authority.
Yeah. the more if you we talk about getting the right quarterback in Jane Daniels and what that does to a franchise. We haven't talked about
the right quarterback. It was our savior.
Yeah, when you talk about getting the right coach and getting the right philosophy on the sidelines, that also is a similar positive benefit, because then it's like Dan Quinn's done this at a super high level in the league for a long time. I know people kind of rail against retreads, and I get it. Like people who've been around for a while and you keep rehiring the same people, and I understand. But the reason why is because you're hiring back in a football philosophy that has legs, and that players and their agents understand that if I play for that guy who has a history in the league, this is the job I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be asked to do, and you're not trying to imagine how you're going to look in
position specific.
Yes, you're not worried about how some 26-year-old coordinator is going to try to reinvent your game, and all I'm trying to do is make $5 million this year so I can make $10 million next year. That's what Dan Quinn gives you. Dan Quinn gives you an idea. Like when he brings in Javon Kinlaw to be the elephant end, and everyone's like, "What's the elephant end?" Well, it's just a big, freaking awesome, strong guy who can set the edge from the inside. It's crazy.
6'5", 320 with multiple inches on Jonathan Allen, multiple height, multiple weight.
That's all it is.
That's it. It's a difference in philosophy. And as soon as Jonathan Allen went out, we got Javon Kinlaw, and everyone was starting to do the comp. Compare the defenses and the coordinators.
It's a known quantity
it's a
philosophy.
It's a fit.
Yes.
And to be fair, I said this, DQ and Adam Peters had the ability to re-sign Javon Kinlaw before his 4th year to the 5th year max as a first-round draft choice, to the 5th year deal. Didn't choose it because the dude only played in 5 or 6 games in year 2 and 3. But he was drafted understanding that he was an Adam Peters guy. He was brought along understanding his health didn't cooperate. So going into year 4, you have to make that deal, right, Ken? We've sat here and talked about our
We've been dared into the option here many times.
And we've had that conversation many times. So because he only played in 6 games, his 2nd year, and 7 his 3rd, Adam Peters did not give Javon Kinlaw that 5th year option. Said, nope, earn it your 4th. Well, life happens. He goes into his 4th, earns it. Kinlaw has his best year in San Fran. Badass in 23. And the Jets pay him. Now the Jets are a freaking tomfoolery. And Peters has been sitting there saying, like, I couldn't give him this, but I drafted him for that. And we brought him along here. So now he's getting his on let's just skip a year. Let's just skip 1 year because he's had that shit appear.
We're not going to play him the way the Jets did.
If anyone doesn't think Adam Peters loves Kinlaw's everything about Kinlaw, then you're wrong. And everyone freaked out. Now all of a sudden people are like, man, damn, the Redskin Commanders had the best offseason of anybody. Well, settle down on the whole shit that we used to dominate that when we'd suck.
Let's tighten up the navigational beacons that we're bouncing
let's
between.
Get excited about Kinlaw, though.
Anybody, like Adam Peters didn't have to sign anybody that he didn't want to sign. Like he knows he's San Francisco. Like that's why the trade for Deebo Samuel was met with immediate joy. And Kinlaw as well. Anyone who Adam Peters has a history with, like it's his show. He's not going to hire somebody to come in that he knows he doesn't want. Like he knows he wants this guy, and we know he knows how to pick guys. So it's kind of I'm excited.
Let me say this: that's his guy.
That's his guy.
Well, we learned that real quick. And 6'5", 320, homeless, living in D.C., playing at a place that we know very well, Friendship Collegiate Academy. Underneath these guys, Abdul Azir Rahim, Michael Hunter, dude. I'm just saying, these guys are still checking for him on social media. Yep. He made relationships that we know that are tangible, that exist. And he said, I can't wait to come back and play for the team that I always dreamed of playing for. Like, dude, you're going from homeless in our city to making all the money you're making playing football to represent our city. I'm thinking this much. A lot of shit's changed.
Oh,
young man.
And he's going
and I can't wait to be your fan.
Be healthy. Get through the summer. We'll be back in 7 days. We're going to talk about we're going to start weaving in some draft stuff. Xavier Strepo was just a little bit of a primer. We talked a little bit about 29. Listen, I know people aren't, the bottom of the first round boner is not the hardest boner in the boner room.
It should be.
It should be. The Patriots, the Eagles, the Chiefs, they've been doing pretty damn good at the bottom of the draft. The 49ers, they've all been getting dudes.
There's been people looking for boners better than that for millions of years that never found.
We're going to draft somebody who will start for us on day one as if he was drafted 3rd overall, as if he was drafted 7th overall, as if he was drafted 2nd overall. The guy we drafted in the first round is coming in to play for us on the first snap of the first day of the season in September. So just make sure you understand we're getting a dude. And also remember that the draft is deepest at positions that we may or may not have the most interest in, namely defensive line. I think the opportunity to add an edge rusher at the bottom of the first round is there.
I'm going to throw cornerback in because, we need a couple, and there is some dudes, and there's a shit ton in this draft.
And by the way, not just dudes, like we're not just throwing names out there because we've done the name game for corner. In fact, we drafted a corner in the first round.
Asante Samuel Jr. sitting right there. We're going to wait and get him at a benefit, at a bargain price, and he's a player.
He is?
Well, he's not someone we need to go and throw $80 million at. Come on.
Nope.
We're run by a new franchise.
The other thing about the cornerback position is that they have the size that we require. There's a couple guys who are 6'1", 6'2", and I'm just telling you right now, so I'm like the guy who watches NFL Network at 2 a.m. because I can't sleep, and like last night I watched like a Miami Dolphins Minnesota Vikings game, and it was terrible. I mean, I watched it. They replayed it. It was from 2020. I couldn't even
what?
I know, but I'm watching, and I was watching. I just like watching. I started really focusing on like after the play and when teams broke for the huddle, and I thought to myself, when we break for the huddle in between plays, like we're so big now. We're so gigantic. We're a big group of dudes.
Are huge.
Everyone's big.
Our D line has become so run stopping.
I don't understand. Like
Eddie Goldman,
everyone should be 6'5" now.
Another local guy that has been coached by friends of ours that we've been knowing about for a decade since we started doing this shit. This dude was like, "Let me get here because DC needs someone to stop the run." The law offices of Golden,
Greg Martin,
Golden Martin,
all about hoop dreams.
I know, but it's a great, great, great movie if you love just like tearing up and having a sad rest of your day. It is the best documentary. Maybe Arthur Agee, dude. These guys, I know them. I've played against cousins of theirs. I've been in the. It's just not,
Yeah,
no.
I understand.
No.
NES Tecmo is a night owl too. As I like when I'm flipping through, like last night, for example, just since we're still in the air, if people want to know. Last night I had two things I was flipping between at like 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was that Dolphins Texans game, which was terrible, and Con Air with Nicolas Cage. And I will tell you this right now. I loved both of those things, and I was going back and forth at every commercial. Those are the two things that were on. And you know what? I get 1,000 channels and streaming and everything, and
I'm gonna say that was a great night.
I lived between those two things.
I hate all of the stuff that I chop between.
Yeah,
I've given for the past 22 years of 24. I've been in charge of the remote. The last 2 years, I'm done. Guys, I'm done. Tell me, my wife and I, but I have now teenage kids, and they hate. There's nothing good on.
No,
it's either sports or like something informative, I guess.
But Con Air, you give me a little bit of Poe, a little bit of Nicolas Cage. I mean, by the way, that movie, I just watched it within
it's a good movie.
The last 17 hours.
I'm not going to argue with you that it's a good movie.
Everyone good, isn't it?
I get it. It's a good movie.
And
when I was in college, everyone was like, "Hey, let's all go back home and sit down for 2 hours and watch a movie." And I was like, "I'm not a sit down for 2 hours type person. It can be the greatest movie of all time."
Well,
but I want to do that.
But I do understand that now. But I was the opposite, because back that we're talking about the Blockbuster era and before.
Yes,
I
couldn't sit still in that era.
I know, and I was, and by the way, if Derek was here, he has some great Blockbuster stories that he would love to tell you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can appreciate that. But like, so last night, and by the way, I was playing video games. I was watching Con Air. I was watching the Dolphins versus the Texans.
I haven't played a video game in 46 years, I don't think.
All right.
36 years.
You
stopped for a while.
I picked up the new PGA game, the 2K25 golf game, and it's fun.
I think that was a good choice.
Yeah.
I think it was a terrible choice.
You know what? It is a terrible choice, but Derek made it at the same time, so now we can play golf in the middle of the night. Sorry,
don't schwack it into my yard.
Civ 7 just came out. We don't need to go through all the video games, but So there you go. That's a good wrap on the show, Greg Martin.
You think?
Summary.
We've been up here for
all
4
the
hours.
Blockbuster stories also end with a pile of bikinis. Of course they do.
Oh,
what?
I didn't know they did. Mine never do.
Celtics documentary on HBO is also pretty good. I agree. Ken
Harris. Of course.
We love you guys. We're coming back in 7 days. Who knows who's going to be sitting with us? T will be back here. Like I said, we had a great day of talking to T.
Ken Harris in 1993, spring of 94. Just let him know that the greatest Boston Celtic had grandbabies that lived next door to Tim Strachan. So when I come over to T's house, Red Auerbach would park his Cadillac, walk up to T. Strachan and Kevin Ricca on T's front porch, T in a wheelchair as a junior in high school from DeMatha, me in a chair from St. John's.
Should have been a wheelchair.
And Red Auerbach would walk up with a cigar, going to visit his grandbabies at the house next door. How about that connection in the sports world? If we're going to talk about it.
That's what the basement's all about,
we will
dude.
let T. Strachan talk about the friendship that him and Red Auerbach developed throughout his 17 to 25-year-old lifetime living on the street his parents still live on. Red Auerbach's grandbabies live next door, and they developed this crazy friendship that I got to witness at point blank range. How about that shit?
J-Dubs, have you played Civ 7? Is it good or bad? I'm not going to buy it. I'm still working on a Civ 6 game. I have a lot of Civ 6 games out there, but J-Dubs caught on to that Civ 7 reference that I made. We'll get the skinny from him. 7 days. We're back. Everyone report back for duty. We're not doging this thing. We're only growing it. We're hiring more people. We're only hiring.
Let's go.
More
Let's
people.
anti-Doge.
We're anti-Doge. We're just doing a hiring.
Fun ass, cool people that are friends with Red Auerbach. All right, never mind. That was the old thing. But
all right, here we go.
you guys are the best, man. This makes everything better. It really does.
New theme song coming. New theme song on the way. We look forward to
thank you, homie, for your efforts. That was so cool. I love this. I love doing little March Madness drafts.
We're still live.
Still live. Love that T had a good day today. Love that we had a good day today. Love that you wore a glorious pink shirt today.
I went pink style.
You look great, though, in it. So, actually, pink works for dark-haired Italian man. I read this.
We talked.
Aaron just bought me a bunch of pink shirts.
You need.
That's for in-house.
You look good.
No, you look good.
Like lingerie?
Yes.
Unnecessary muffness with Kathy Ireland.
My favorite. And and Sinbad and who was the
Scott Bakula.
Thank you. And also, who's the holder?
Wait, so Kathy Ireland's kicker?
It was
Sinbad.
But there was a Tongan or I love the
Samoans.
Yeah, Samoans. And there was a Samoan. I was like,
yes, he
sorry,
was.
Mister.
She will never touch you again.
Never touch you again.
They will never touch you
that
again.
was the center, I thought. So,
I don't know. All I know is Kathy Ireland. Sinbad was there. Sinbad was involved.
Of course he was. My mom loved Sinbad.
Sinbad's great.
I know. I agree.
Baby biceps. We'll see you guys next week.